Hello everyone, welcome to yet another special moment on our channel. Today, I want to share with you an impressive story, something that Our Lady asked us to do, so that we can reflect and strengthen our faith. Before we begin, I invite each of you to leave in the comments the name of all the people who need prayer, those who, deep down in your heart, you feel deserve a special grace. We will include these names in our main prayer with the Rosary, uniting our voices and hearts to ask for blessings, protection, and miracles in everyone's lives. The story I bring today takes place in a small town in the interior of Texas, in the United States, where religious tradition is so strong that it moves mountains. It was a warm late afternoon, the sun was already setting on the horizon, tinting the sky orange and gold. The procession continued steadily along a dirt road, filled with faithful carrying candles, saints and a fervor that seemed to elevate each step. Birds could be heard singing in the distance and, amidst the prayers, a gentle breeze brought a slight freshness to the atmosphere. Everyone was absorbed in faith, walking side by side, when they saw, further ahead, an old wooden bridge, built decades ago by residents who had already left. The bridge, in a way, also symbolized the passage to a blessed destination, but, to everyone's surprise, that crossing held a lasting scare that would remain in their memories. As the procession approached the bridge, some older residents warned that it was poorly maintained. There were loose boards, rusty screws, and gaps in the floor, signs that any carelessness could result in an accident. The curious thing is that, despite the initial fear, the collective prayer seemed to protect everyone from any harm, almost as if faith were a shield against whatever could happen. Many said they were certain that nothing would take away the hope of that sacred moment, that divine providence would protect each person present there. However, fear grew on the faces of some participants. Those who knew the fragility of that bridge knew that crossing it was not an easy task. Uncertainty loomed in their minds. What if something bad happens? What if someone gets hurt? Amidst this tension, the church bells echoed in the distance, as if each chime was saying, "Take courage, keep going." It was then that, at the exact moment the procession stepped onto the bridge, the inevitable happened. One of the planks gave way, creating a dangerous gap. In the shock, one of the people, a woman with unshakable faith and a captivating smile, ended up stepping wrong and fell straight into the gap between the planks, disappearing into the river that ran below. It was a moment of absolute panic. The candles flickered, the singing stopped, and everyone's heart, without exception, raced as if it were going to jump out of their chests. Fear became palpable. Could she have been swept away by the current? Is there any hope? In that tiny second, the procession stopped moving, but not praying. The harmony of the voices in prayer was impressive, each one crying out for the protection of that lady. The water in the river was cold and the current, although not furious, was strong enough to sweep her away. Several people quickly positioned themselves, trying to see her, shouting for help and asking Our Lady to intercede at that very moment. While some cried, fearing the worst, others dared to go down to the riverbank, even knowing the risks, trying to help her. And then, in the midst of the confusion, strong arms appeared to grab the lady, pulling her out of the water and placing her back on dry land. Kneeling and trembling, with their hearts still racing, the faithful thanked God for preserving her without any serious injury. The impact of that scene was profound. That village, which had already lived under many demonstrations of faith, was reinvigorated by the image of unity and compassion that was formed at that moment. Entire families embraced each other, children watched with their mouths open and learned, in that act, about the strength of a community that unites in prayer. And the lady, although visibly frightened, showed in her eyes an incomparable gratitude. She said, "Only God could hold me down there. I felt as if an army of angels lifted me up." The tears that flowed were not of pain, but of gratitude and relief. That bridge, previously a cause for apprehension, now symbolized a great lesson. When fear paralyzes us, faith makes us see the way out, unites us in fraternity, and gives us the strength to save those in need. With the procession now reorganized, everyone decided to continue, but with a completely different outlook on life and the value of each prayer. Each step from then on was accompanied by an even greater respect for divine providence. And how beautiful it was to see each person thanking, "Thank you, Our Lady, for the opportunity to witness this miracle. Lord, may this scare make us have more and more faith," and so on. This episode reinforced the need to look at others with compassion and readiness, always remembering that, in the midst of adversity, our best ally is the faith we cultivate in our hearts. It is no coincidence that, many times, we only realize the importance of praying and being in communion when we are confronted by fear. Faith is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It needs to be watered every day to grow and flourish. And this watering happens in the small actions of everyday life, in the moments of silence in which we connect with God, and in the acts of kindness we practice towards others. It is not only in great miracles that it manifests itself, but also in the details, such as the comfort of a friendly word, serenity in the face of a problem, or the simple fact of waking up healthy. This story teaches us that faith is not something static, but rather a living force that needs to be constantly nourished, especially in difficult times, when the ground seems to give way beneath our feet, like on that wooden bridge. And, above all, faith transforms us. It takes us from being spectators to protagonists, moving us to act for the good of others. Just as those faithful people joined together in prayer and action to save the lady, we are also called to be instruments of God in the lives of the people around us. We cannot underestimate the power of our prayers and our attitudes. After all, true faith is not just believing, but also trusting and acting. So, may we, each day, live with greater confidence, forgiving, thanking, and helping, because this is how we build solid bridges to overcome life's challenges. May this story inspire us to be better people and closer to God, even when faced with the difficulties we face. In our daily lives, we face metaphorical wooden bridges all the time. They can be financial difficulties, health problems, family arguments, or even moments of loneliness and discouragement. Just as that village in Texas came together to save a life, we also need to unite in prayer to save our hearts. Whenever we pray, we connect our soul to a source of love that strengthens our spirit to face the inevitable falls in life. That is why we must nurture the daily practice of prayer, the rosary, and sermons, and have the courage to forgive ourselves and others. Forgiveness is liberating, brings peace to the heart, and opens us to more conversions, to see the divine light even in the darkest scenarios. When we stop to pray daily, we leave aside the rush of the world and draw closer to what really matters: communion with God and Our Lady. Difficulties can be frightening, but faith casts out fear. This inspiring story shows us that even when the situation seems bleak, the union of hearts in prayer can accomplish things that go beyond our understanding. So, once again, I ask that you comment below with the names of people who need prayer, so that we can include them in our prayers, joining each intention to the rosary. Remember, the strength of a community united in faith is capable of overcoming any obstacle and bringing about daily miracles. And now, I would really like to hear from you. What did you think of this story? At what point in your life did you feel that faith made a difference? Leave your comments below, because each testimony is important to motivate other hearts to persevere. If you liked this story and want to receive more content like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share this story with those who need hope, and let's spread together the wonders that faith is capable of accomplishing. God bless each of you, and until our next meeting.